you. Now let's go to Prager. Here's what PragerU says. The top 5 issues facing black Americans. Number 5, victim mentality. Okay.
Showing both sides. I like this, right? You show the progressive side. This is what the progressives believe. Here's what I kind of believe in this. I believe in this. Right? Let's see.
Not holding someone back from more than seeing himself as a victim. Why? Because a victim is not responsible for a situation.
Ding, 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 ding. It's an alibi. Black people today, a lot of them are using race as an alibi. They're using racism as an alibi. Oh, why you not where you are at life? Oh, because the white man was on my neck. White man holding me back. White man don't even know you exist, but you sure as hell think he's holding you back. Like this is what I'm saying. Black people are looking outwards instead of looking inwards. Oh, how can I better my situation? How can I better my community? No, instead he's looking at someone to blame. Oh, it's not fair. You grew up in a 2-parent household. White privilege. Oh, you wasting your white privilege. You don't end up becoming nothing. If a white person can become poor in this country, maybe it's not because their skin color is the reason why they're successful in the first place. Maybe it's something else. You know, black people don't ever think about that. Instead, if they see a poor white person, they'll be like, oh, you wasted your white privilege. You have all this opportunity. There go those assumptions again. Black people's culture and these dogmas are all built on assumptions. This is why they don't like people questioning them. Because the minute you question them, they're on YouTube. Oh, look at it. Oh, Uncle Tom. Oh. They put the raccoon emojis. Oh, I don't care. You ain't call me a liar, though. Because you know you can't dispute these facts. You know you can't challenge these facts. It seems like the black community, the victim mentality is just you looking for confirmation. This is dogma. You want me to conform? You want me to go along with this nonsense when I know it's nonsense? When I know you failed the test, not because math is racist, it's because you never study. You're wasting your time trying to play a fake drug dealer on the street, and then you come to school, you don't care about school, you don't consider school important, you don't consider education important, and then when you fail the test, you're gonna say, oh, it's because of the math is racist. Math is a white thing. You know, I'm a black man. You know, black people don't show up on time. Why we had to show up on time? Obviously, this is racist. This is a racist rule. Making excuses for your own behavior. Using your race as an alibi. I digress, though.
Everything is someone else's fault. And a victim sees little chance of improving his life. How can he get ahead if there's someone holding him back? All this makes him victim. All this makes the victim unhappy, frustrated, and angry. And then in the bottom, it says, so victim, so much on victim status, primary center. I call it victimology. Unfortunately, many black churches preach the victimology. Many black parents pass it on to their children. Inner city schools teach it to their students.
Yep, and that's one of the reasons why I stopped going to church too. Is because I noticed that the pastor will talk about racism or how you got to work twice as hard as a white kid, and I'm like, I don't believe that because maybe because of my personal experience, I was able to always compete. That I never felt the need that I need to work twice as hard. I feel like kids had to work twice as hard to keep up with me. So I was like, then does that mean I have privilege? Like, make it make sense. These people want you to believe that you have privilege based on your race and not because of your family, not because of your community, right? Those have more. I'll agree. If you're saying a kid coming from a rich neighborhood has more opportunities than a kid coming from a poor neighborhood, I agree with that. I agree. There's nothing. It's obvious. It's self-evident. But if you're going to tell me a black kid has less opportunity than a white kid in America, I'm going to say, you're a liar. You don't know. I think you're looking at service level. There's other factors that could probably decide why the black kid's getting less opportunity than the white kid. If you told me, oh, the white kid comes from a rich 2-parent educated family and the black kid comes from a single motherhood, low educated family in a poor neighborhood, I'm like, yeah, that's why that kid's not doing successful. There tends to be more black kids in that situation than white kids in that situation, and this is why white kids tend to have better outcomes in general. But they don't want to focus on behaviors, because if you focus on behaviors, it means that they can actually change it. That means in some level they're responsible for the situation they're in. No, they don't want to do that. It's easier to blame their skin color. That's easy. That's more attractive to sell. Oh, I can't do nothing about this, so it's not my fault. You have to change. What's the hardest thing for anyone to do? Admit when they're wrong. And that's the black community right now. This is why they'll double down, triple dog dare you down, 10 toes down, before they admit that they had a wrong perspective on that thing. And I know it's going to take time. I digress.
And the black media reinforces it. Meanwhile, the NAACP and other black grievance groups fundraise it. Number 4, lack of diversity. Blacks repeatedly demand an honest dialogue on debate about race. But how can there be an honest dialogue about race between blacks and whites when there is virtually no honest dialogue between blacks and blacks? It's hypocritical. And if a black does think whites are ultimately responsible for black people's problems, they're labeled a sellout, an Uncle Tom, a race traitor. I'm sure you've experienced some of that yourself.
Crazy, bruh. The lack of diversity. Imagine there's a lack of diversity in the black community. Not the superficial diversity. Oh, we like Hispanic people. We think we call Hispanic our ninja from another mother. We like Indians. No. I'm not talking about that diversity. I'm talking about diversity of thought, diversity of perspective. Like I said, 90% of the black community are slanted towards the Democrats. And I'm a minority. And if I express my voice, the majority will get mad at me. But I don't care. I'm right. I know I'm right on this issue. I know they don't have the facts and evidence behind them. They rely on the majority right now. But that's true right now. Is it going to be true 20 years from now? Hey, who knows? But me shutting up ain't going to help me make the case that I have in front of you today. The lack of perspective. A community that's 90% one way has blind spots. This is why I said they want conformity. This is why they label you a sellout. This is why they label you an Uncle Tom. This is why they label you a race traitor. Because they want conformity. They don't care about the truth. The truth don't help them. The truth don't help making black people continue voting Democrat. It don't help them. That's why I said, what incentive does a black Democrat have to actually change your situation when if black people stay in the current situation they're in right now, you're guaranteed to vote their way for their benefit. This is why I'm always laughing when I get these comments on my comment section calling me a grifter. But I'm like, you don't call Al Sharpton a grifter. You don't call Jesse Jackson a grifter. And they benefit the most from you voting Democrat, like sheep. Proving Lyndon B. Johnson right. You still owe him 150 more years of voting Democrat. He's getting Al Sharpton getting fancy dinners with Democratic presidents, lobbying for who knows what. But whatever that Al Sharpton lobbied for, did it actually help change black people's situation? No. It probably make you feel better about being in your current situation, and that's how they want you. Comfortable with your current situation. At least as a black conservative, I have an incentive to actually change your situation, because if you change your situation, you start voting my way. So even if you want to take the idea that I'm a grifter, logically, I have more to gain with you changing your situation than you staying the same. But like they said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, voting for the same party over and over again and expecting a different result. Y'all can keep playing that game. But that's a low probability odds, because I'm a man of probability, not possibility. It's possible the Democrats can change on their own. But how probable is that? If black people stay poor, if black people stay low educated, if black people stay having a majority single motherhood usage, have a high usage rate of welfare, dependent on welfare, you vote 90% for Democrats. What incentive does a Democrat have to mess that up? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But black conservatives are coons, Uncle Tom, sellouts, race traitors. If you look at it from that perspective, black Democrats are the race traitors. They're not pro their race, they're pro their party, because their party's not actually helping their race. At least not the common people within their race, who are the average, which is the majority of their people. They're using their people as pawns to gain political influence, power, money. But black conservatives are the grifters. But you don't have that same smoke for Al Sharpton, who working on NBC, who works for NBC as a news anchor. But if my butt gets paid doing the same thing he's doing, I'm the grifter, but he's not. Make it make sense. That's emotional reasoning. That's not logic. Because logic requires consistency. And I don't see that consistency, especially people who say it's both parties. Both parties are the problem. Okay, if both parties are the problem, how can you tolerate your people voting blindly for one party only? Because they only vote for one party. The majority of them anyway. But it's both sides. Kiss my butt. You know you're lying. You lying through your teeth. Anytime I make a good point against the Democrat Party, well, it's both sides. Nah, passive aggressive. Coping. You never can. I never can get a black person to say, "Oh, you're right about the Democrat Party. You're right about that. I didn't know that. You're right about that." No, they always gotta make some excuse for the Democrat. But the minute someone critiques the Republican Party, they got no excuses for the Republicans. Anytime someone criticizes the Republican Party, I never hear them say, "Oh, it's both sides." I never hear that. Only when you go at the Democrats. Charlemagne the God, Charlemagne, I don't call him the God. Charlemagne is the perfect example of a dude that said it's both sides. He still vote Democrat though. Or he'll make a scene but still vote. Because Democrats don't care about you making a scene. The Democrats don't care about you complaining. They care about how you vote. And if you just make a scene, or they're gonna be like, oh, they all talk. They're gonna keep complaining, but they're still gonna vote for us. That's how the Democrats look at the black community. And as a black man, I'm tired of that now. I'm like, nah. You ain't gonna you gonna earn this vote. And that's why you see a lot of black men slowly going towards the conservative party, the Republican Party. This is why you see all these news outlets running cover. Oh no, don't vote for Donald Trump. Look, remember all the things Donald Trump did? Waka Flocka is now endorsing Donald Trump. Another rapper, female rapper, I don't know her name, but endorsing Donald Trump. The hood loves Trump. They scared of that. They're like, oh no. Because Democrats, black Democrats was never about black people. They pretend they're about black people, but really they're about themselves and their party. I like to call them the house Negroes. But maybe I'm being too harsh. But you know, I mean conservatives, black conservatives get called names all the time. So I mean, I'm just putting out what they put. I'm just pushing back what they give out. I digress though. I know I ran on a 14-minute rant, but let's get back into the rest of the video.
Over the years, as long as this type of groupthink exists, race reverence of the Al Sharptons, Jesse Jackson types will continue to be celebrated, while independent black thinkers such as Professor Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, and yourself will be shunned. Okay, let's go to number 3. Urban terrorism. As just about everyone knows, but few talk about publicly, in major black cities, violent black-on-black crimes is rampant. A Department of Justice study from 1980 to 2008 revealed that blacks accounted for almost half of the nation's homicide victims, 47.4%, and more than half of offenders, 52.4%, all while only 13% of Americans' population.
I find it funny how no one calls black-on-black crime, oh, that's some coon-ish. No, it's just, oh, that's just how it is in the hood. They just accept it. They just tolerate it. Whatever you tolerate is what you get. And if you continue justifying it, stitches get stitches, that's how you lost Takeoff. People kill them, and then like, oh, we ain't gonna face no repercussions because I just killed another ninja and I'm a ninja, so we good. But let a white person do that, oh, all hell break loose. But we are our own problem. We rob each other, we victimize each other at a higher rate than anyone else. And then the biggest cop out they'll use, oh well, all other races do it at the rate that black people are doing it. No. 5 times more likely that a black person will rob another black person than a white person is to rob another white person. That's insanity. But you want to blame poverty? You want to blame the system? The system's only holding you accountable. We all agree to the system. Hey, here's the rules. Don't break them. You break them, you go to jail. Simple. But the system is mass incarceration is bad. Well, is it mass crime bad too? So if the people who are doing the majority of these crimes, shouldn't they go to jail? It just so happened that they're black. Behavior again. Well, you know, I digress. Let's get into it because I want to wrap this up because I have to call it.
Okay, so that's another study. We can go to the next one. Number 2, proliferation of baby mamas, the disintegration of the nuclear family, which you talked about briefly earlier. According to Mohian report, he was a senator, I believe, right, Tom? How do you say his last name?
Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
Yeah, Moynihan. In 1965, nearly 25% of black children were born to unwed mothers. The report author, Daniel Patrick, said that this was a disaster in the making. He, of course, vilified by so-called black leaders and their progressive allies, but he was right. Today, out of wedlock, birth rates is nearly 75%.
All right, and I made the claim, being single is a luxury now. With the high cost of inflation, black women also have higher eviction rates. And there's another concept. They'll say, oh, it's because of racism. This is why black women get evicted out of houses more often than non-black women. But it's not the case. Black people are statistically poor. Black people statistically have bad credit. Black people statistically have larger amount of debt. Right? Especially black women. They rely on the government. There's a reason why there's a high usage rate, a high percentage of black single moms that's on welfare. So and they don't balance their budget. They don't they live day to day. They have 7 baby daddies because it's better to get 7 child support checks than to get one welfare one child support check, right? They treat the government system as some kind of hustle, and when it runs out, they have no means of, they don't have any skill to actually make them have a livable wage, an employable skill, sorry. Because all their skills is based on how to depend on the government. And then what skills they have to teach their kids? Nothing. Oh, just, hey, this is how I made it. And if they have a daughter, she'll repeat the cycle. Oh, but this is what my mom did. My mom taught me the game, how to rely on the government. But the minute the government say, oh, we're going to cut these problems off if you vote Republican, this is the real reason why black women are the most loyal Democratic voters, because of this. They get a tangible benefit from it. But if I ask a black man, what tangible benefit you get for voting Democrat? They can't tell me nothing. They give me superficial, emotional reasons. Oh, I vote along with my people. No, you vote along black women that kicked you out of the house. That put out this image of you ain't ish. You're a bad father. You abandon your kids. And then they expect you to vote along their interest. This is why I said there's going to be a separation in the black community. It might be through gender lines. You're already starting to see it. Most black conservatives are men. You see it. Candace Owens is the only black woman I can mention that's a conservative right now. I know there's others, but I'm just saying disproportionately, it's a lot of black men. Because black men are the first one to realize, hey, I get no benefit. I don't get no tangible benefit for voting Democrat. I just get a good boy. You voted along the black community. Because I don't get my validation from other people. I don't need other people to prove my blackness. I'm black regardless of what they say. Black is who I am, not what I'm trying to be. I cannot like fried chicken. I cannot like watermelon. I cannot like all the stereotypically black things that I'm supposed to like. And black people practice this racism on themselves. You're not black because I don't follow a stereotype. If I don't sag my plants, you acting like a white boy. Why are you talking like that? Saw Blondie. What the white boy said? Like they make jokes like that because you can articulate yourself in proper English, in standard English. You can write in standard English. You don't have a problem passing classes. Oh, you ain't black. It's funny. Being black means following negative stereotypes associated with your group. But when you get someone that breaks the mold, you want to call them a sellout, Uncle Tom. This is what I'm saying. The black culture does not want progress. It wants conformity. That's the truth. This is why black people haven't been making progress. Because all the ideas that will progress the people, you shut it down because it challenges your current narrative. Well, this is going to be the boy who cried wolf situation. But, I digress. Let's continue with the video.
1965. I think you talked about this earlier. 25% to today, 75%. Last but not least is the unquestioning allegiance to so-called progressive policies, okay? Unwavering loyalty to progressive liberal policies is the primary reason why these dire conditions exist. It both makes them possible and perpetuates them. It's no coincidence that progressivism is the common thread that binds predominantly black cities where single-parent homes, failing schools, rampant poverty, and crime predominate. I can keep reading this and talking about what's going on in Detroit, Philadelphia. The point I want to make is...
So I wanted to get back... I wanted to get back to the Detroit point. Look at cities like Detroit, Philadelphia, and Baltimore. They have been run by progressive Democrats for decades. But they love blaming the system. But the very people that's supposed to be for black people, their policies is what's holding black people back. Their policies is what incentivizing and creating an environment that keeps them at the bottom. This is what we talk about. This is why we went through culture. This is why I went through Psych Hack's video about how you gain wisdom. How do you gain wisdom as a people? Keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again and expecting a different result? Insanity. This is ignorance. Ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is very painful. If you're experiencing pain and you don't know what's causing that pain, it's a very stressful situation. That's what's going on in the black community. They don't know what's causing their current problems in society right now. And they keep voting for people they think will fix it, when in reality, they're voting for the very people that's incentivizing and creating the environment that they're suffering from. And then they let these people put the wool over their eyes and say, oh no, it's the system. Oh, it's been historically this way. It's going to take some time to fix it. 50 years they've been falling for this crap. If their liberal policies were all effective, these cities should have been becoming models of economic growth and prosperity. Those are oxymorons to a progressive. Economic growth and prosperity. No, that don't help the progressives' cause. They can't have you content and comfortable. You might actually change your mind and become a capitalist. Oh, they can't have that. They have to keep you miserable. They have to keep you mad. Because if you're not miserable and mad, you won't vote for them. You're going to start voting, hey, I need less taxes. I'm making too much money. Y'all taking too much money. I don't get no benefit from welfare anymore. If black people were some of the richest group in America, we wouldn't want welfare. This is one of my second point of why Democrats will never want to actually change your economic situation. You're not going to get any financial liberation from the Democratic Party, because they benefit from you staying at the bottom. They benefit from you being dependent on the government because you guarantee votes, because they're the party of what? Big government entitlements. But if the black community was rich, if the average income in the black community was $70K a year, you guys will be paying a lot of taxes. And you're going to be like, nah, I don't want the government taking all this money from me that I could be using for my family. I want to use it more for my family. That's the conservatives aren't selfish. Conservatives are realistic. Hey, if I take care of my own and everyone else take care of their own, nobody will be needing to be dependent on the government. But big government can't have that. Big government needs you to need them. So they create division. They create calls. Oh, look, isn't it unfair? This guy's making so much money. You're only making this money. You're barely struggling by, and he's buying like 3 cars. Isn't that unfair? And you go, yeah. This is the problem. You're focusing on things outside of yourself and outside of your community instead of addressing problems that you're doing. How can I make more money? How can I make my people prosper without the help of outside groups? That's the conservative mindset. That's the mindset of someone that wants to fix something, not complain about something and then get you riled up. You emotionally vote for me, and then I'm Brandon Johnson bringing in immigrants that make it harder for you to live your life. That getting sheltering, and you see them getting all this tax dollars, and you're like, yo, that's our tax dollars. Why are you using it to funnel in immigrants? Why are you using it to house immigrants in our schools? They're bringing crime. They're bringing problems into our communities. And then you start realizing they put you second. You're just a means to an end to them. That's a progressive policy for you. But black progressives are real pro-blacks. Black conservatives are coons, because black conservatives inconveniently point out things that are wrong and ineffective with the progressive policies. How progressivism is hurting the black community, not helping it. And the minute I try to say, hey, look, conservatism can help that black community, y'all want to discount it. Y'all want to dismiss it. Hey, man. Let's continue.
I can keep reading this and talking about what's going on in Detroit, Philadelphia. The point I want to make is 2 very different views of the problem we're facing in America. One is, white supremacist, here's what happened, even this, even that. The other one is responsibility, do something about it, but here's the problem. How do we get these 2 groups to either come together? And if we can't, how do you get the people that are in the middle open-minded to say, trust me, this mindset on this side, it's going to give you a better life than this mindset on this side wanting to be a victim?
It depends on the people, because at the end of the day, the people have to be reasonable enough to want to be convinced. And I think the only way you can get an unreasonable person to be open to a new idea is if they continue suffering the consequences of the ideas that they advocate for, aka having Brandon Johnson come in and bring in immigrants into your town, into your community, and then see how it's affecting your crime, your safety as a people. The resources getting moved away from you, and the focus becomes them. You being considered a second-class citizen, and you're like, yo, you're supposed to be for me. That's the only way I think someone in the middle will be open to hearing the other side's view, aka the black conservative view, aka, hey, we should look out for in the best interest of our people, best interest of your family. And when I use my people, I mean Americans. I'm not necessarily saying based on race. That's very superficial in my view. And I think that should be the focus. Hey, how can we all win here? But they don't like thinking that way. But hey, I digress.